Hi everybody, this is Sam. I'm the editor of Peking Cat Poetry Magazine, and I'm here today to talk about the Peking Cat Anthology 2016, which has just been released. I have 2 copies of the book here. They are my proof copies, so you might have seen that the book is out already on Facebook or Twitter or Lulu, and it will look slightly different to what I have in my hands because this is previous copies, but here they are. If you've seen them before, you'll see that the titles are actually in white now, and this is a lot lower, so it looks a little bit better than it does here. But we have a hardback copy and a paperback copy. It's also available on Kindle. It will also be available on Amazon if you prefer to get books from Amazon instead, but that won't be for another couple of months, I think, because I need to approve another proof copy, which is the copies that are actually out now. So I approved these, and then I made some I received these, and then I made some changes, so now I have to wait for the books to come to me so that I can approve them, even though I made tiny changes and they're fine. So I just need to do that and then sign it all off, and then it takes about 6 weeks for it to get to Amazon. So that's where we are with that. So you can buy them now on Lulu if you want to, or on your Kindle. The hardback is obviously more expensive, and it takes a longer to come. Mine took a couple of weeks, I think, because you have to wait for it to be printed, and then it takes longer to come than the paperback. So much to say about these. I've made myself some notes so I don't forget. It's out. Here it is. There are 40 poems, 3 short stories, and 6 photographs from writers and photographers all over the world, especially the USA, the UK, India, I think, Asia. A couple of familiar names. If you've read some of the magazines already, you might recognise some of the names. And I just want to thank really everybody who has contributed, because obviously we would be nowhere without you. We've been doing this since 2013, and I know I'm doing that thing again where I say we, even though it's just me here, because it feels like it's not, it's all of us, even though I'm talking to a webcam right now, which I still find really weird. So yeah, if people like the anthology, if it does well, then there will absolutely be another one next year, and the year after, and the year after. So yeah, we'll really just see kind of this being our first one. We'll see, do people like it on paperback? Do you prefer to make it a bit more special and buy it in hardback? Do you like to read it on your Kindle? Do you have a different reading device that you'd rather it be read on, like a Kobo or iBook on the iBook store or anything like that? If you do have any thoughts about that, please let me know. You can email me pekingcatpoetry@yahoo.co.uk, or you can tweet me or Facebook me. So yes, thank you to everybody who submitted all of your poems. Really appreciate everything that you've sent to me, not just for the anthology but for the last 3 years, and really this is kind of an accumulation of, and a bit of a celebration of our time so far, because when I first started Peking Cat, it was really difficult to kind of get going. I'm quite slow to get submissions, and I know I kept a lot of people waiting because they kind of submitted things quite early on when I was asking for submissions, and then because we didn't yet have enough submissions to make the magazine, it was quite a while until we did have enough so that we could go to print. So the people who submitted early did end up waiting quite a while, and then issues 2 and 3 ended up being combined. So yeah, it was a bit of a slow start, but now we are actually a monthly magazine, which is great, and it's really good to have that kind of consistency. For the anthology, there are things that I would do differently next time. If I would like it to be bigger. I'd like it to be twice the size. That would be great. We have I think 70 odd pages in this, including kind of all the pictures and the poems and the author bios at the back as well, so you can read like everybody's backgrounds and things, which is always quite interesting, especially because you can see kind of the variety of people who are in so many different places. You know, you've got people that have been submitting poetry for years to different anthologies and magazines, and they have quite a lot of publishing experience, and then you have people who are maybe younger, and maybe this is one of the first places that they've been published, or they haven't had that much experience with it, which is really good as well, I think, to get those people out there. I remember how excited I was when I was 16 and I had my first poem published. So yes, other things I would do differently. What I really wanted to do with the paperback is make it a little bit smaller, kind of like I guess sort of a regular size book. Not that this isn't regular, but this is the same size as the magazine normally is, and I wanted to do something just a little bit smaller just to make it a bit different. But that proved a bit difficult because of well, the font would have been smaller. Would have had to play around with like people's line breaks, which is really important in poetry, and you don't want to mess about with it too much. I really do like to kind of keep things, you know, as similar as possible to how people submit them to me, you know, partially in respect to what they've created, and also partially just because it's so much easier rather than going back and forth so much, and it makes things faster as well. And because we are a monthly, I'm quite used to kind of, I want the things to be done quite quickly. Also, the images are in black and white, which isn't what I had originally planned. They are in colour on the Kindle edition, and they still look really good. I'll show you a little example there. This does still look great. It's just that the printing in colour was going to be so much more expensive, and I do want to keep the magazine and the anthology kind of as affordable as possible. I think I feel an extra responsibility because I think a lot of contributors do buy a print copy, which I really appreciate, but because we don't get, you know, we're not selling masses and masses of the things, I can't you know, sort of pay people for their work, or even send contributors copies, because, you know, that all really adds up. It does get really expensive. So that's why I normally make the magazine free online, which I know I haven't done for the anthology. But yeah, just wanting to kind of keep it as low cost as possible, really. Speaking of, there is a discount code for 20% off on lulu.com. It's only until the 3rd of October, which is Monday, but if you use the code SAVE TODAY, that's in all caps, when you get to checkout on Lulu, and that'll give you 20% off. And Lulu do other discounts as well periodically, so I do try to share those as well when I see them. The hardback, as I said, does take a couple of weeks to ship, so just bear that in mind if you're buying one of those, but the paperback should come about, you know, as quickly as the magazine does, I believe. And also I just wanted to read a couple of poems. I have three poems that I've picked out that I would like to read, just kind of give you a bit of an idea of the kind of things that are in the anthology. So the first one is The Distance Between Us by Scott Thomas Outlaw, also a previous contributor to Peking Cat Poetry magazine. Distance Between Us. She would often tell me that there was a dark black hole deep in the pit of her stomach. I was never able to fill the emptiness, but just maybe, in the end, I took a piece of it with me. Love that. It's short but sweet, which is quite like that. A lot of things I write very short as well. Really poignant at the end as well. It's quite dark throughout, really, and sad, but lovely. I really like that. Also we have Springtime at the Graveyard by Heath Brower, another previous contributor. Half hollow, this landscape is dotted with bundles of flowers, propped up against gravestones, or not, resting above the dead. This was once our playground, where we wasted ourselves amongst the lush drapery of summer, where we stared at the sky and saw 1,000 stars and never looked back or ahead, just plunged into the moment, the present, living there in real time. This is where we found our lunacy and set it afire, abloom, and ran and danced naked in the seemingly endless nights of youth. This is where we birthed belligerence and kisses, where we thrived in our youth, in unison and fraternity, with the dead and buried ones who rested below our feet. For we knew they chuckled along with us, for we knew they loved to see these things of youth, these things at the apex of their blooming. I love the imagery in that, and kind of the flowers and the youth, and kind of the similarities there, and the kind of double message that is there. I guess that's great imagery. I really like that as well. And on page 40 we have Verses Written from the Cat's Point of View by Norbert Gorer. Listen, you tall man, bathed in misunderstanding. My world is a million of feelings beyond the ordinary meow meow. It's a universe of concentration. In moments of high jumps, hundreds of correct landings, the mastery of precision. Life in the fast lane, and danger like a trip on a train without a ticket. Dance with the unpredictable fate on thin ice. Do not look at me like a fluffy ball, a symbol of innocence. In the middle beats brave heart. On the altar of your consciousness, I put my cat thoughts. Life for me is something more than a full bowl, walk and necking. It is the vastness of adventure. Everyday worries. My moments go by faster than yours. I do get a few cat poems, and I do end up rejecting a few because I think that they're sometimes sent to me just for the sake of being cat poems, but this one is great. That's really fun to read as well. Little cat voice, I do like that. Great. So there's a little taster of the anthology. I will put all of the links in the description, and yes, please do send me any thoughts you have about the anthology. Send me anything, you know, send me submissions for the next magazine. Tell me things that what do you like in the anthology, what do you think could have been done better even, you know. It is only me here. I'm talking to my kitchen. You know, it's difficult sometimes to kind of work in a space where there's kind of nobody to bounce ideas off, really, who is, you know, directly working on the project with you. So it's really, really great when I get to hear back from people, and contributors and readers. So yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you soon.